Welcome back, everybody, to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. Lorenzo Fawn here, sitting with...
Kevin Horde.
who's messing with his microphone right now. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I got a pop filter on this thing that I looked out of place and decided to readjust it for, no reason at all. I'm sure it was fun.
Yeah, that's all good. It's all good. We will be discussing Star Wars Resistance, the newest episode that released today, November 18th, 2018. That would be Synara's score.
Absolutely.
Right. So, warning as usual, as this is a newer episode, currently running show, that if you are listening to this and you have not seen this episode yet of Star Wars Resistance, that we will be doing a full dive into the episode. I'll do a brief plot summary, but that will involve spoilers. So,
yeah, this is a full spoiler alert. I think this show aired maybe 3 hours ago ish.
Right. So, this is the last warning. Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched Resistance and you would like to go in fresh, I will jump into the plot summary. Our plot summaries lately have been running a little long, so I'm going to try and shorten things down because I figured with a currently running show that you could just go watch the show. It's kind of what Kevin and I discussed off air, so let's see how I do, right? So,
let's go.
Beginning of the episode? Yeah, let's do it. At the beginning of the episode, Doza is calling Yeager via the little hologram dealie. Doza is concerned about pirates, and he is sending the Aces out on an escort shipment mission at some point. So he really needs Yeager to fix some turbo lasers. They involve the targeting system, and if the Aces leave, then it leaves the platform defenseless. We cut to the shop. They need some Komar Tri-Tracer chip of some sort. It's a military grade thing. Kaz and
Komar Tracker
chip. Okay, yes. I just can't read my own writing. Kaz and Tam head to that shop. What are their names again? I forgot their names. They never mentioned them.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The two dudes. Yeah. Like Flick or something.
Flick sounds right. It's Pig and Bird from Angry Birds, I think.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So they head that way. There's no luck at that shop. Those two tell them to check with the scavengers. They go to check with Synara, who is working with other scavengers. She happens to have one. Meanwhile, afterwards, Synara starts connecting a few dots. She scopes out Doza Tower, realizes that something is off, gives Kragan a call to try and inform him. There is another pirate named Drell that answers. For some reason, nothing really happens there. We cut into the conversation with Doza and Yeager. Yeager is actually in Doza Tower talking to Doza.
Real quick question.
Doza, yeah.
Is Drell a new character, or is that somebody that we've seen in the past?
I didn't double check, but I'm thinking Drell might have been in the Triple Dark, flying one of the ships maybe. I didn't do a deep dive into that one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, so I didn't know if it stood out to you or not.
Nope, not to me personally.
Cool.
Yeah. So Yeager's in Doza Tower. Doza is telling Yeager that he needs to have turrets online within the hour because the Aces are going to be leaving soon. We cut back to Synara. She is on the line with Kragan and mentions that she believes the tracking on turrets is down. She will get confirmation, but this is a good opportunity for the pirates to attack and swindle and do their thing. Kaz, Tam, and Neeku are working on fixing the tracking system back at their shop. Synara shows up. Kaz and company try to hide that they are working on a targeting computer. Tam distracts Synara by saying, hey, we should get food. They go to the market. We get some background information on Tam here, that she was a racer. She lost her ship. She had bet against her own ship. She had
let's
placed
cover
her
that
ship
later
as part of the bet. Yeah. So then, during the scene, the aces are shown leaving. Kaz comes back to the market to get Tam, because with the aces leaving, they need to finish up the targeting system. At the same time, Synara informs Kragan that the aces have left, therefore the Colossus is defenseless. And in the very next scene, pirates attack the Colossus. Tam goes to help Synara, thinking that she might be in danger, and also, of course, not realizing that she is, in fact, a spy for the pirates. Kaz stays to help Yeager install the targeting system. We get a couple fight scenes here. So Tam fights on the docks with trying to find Synara. As Kaz and Yeager are trying to install this big targeting computer system, the pirates find them and figure out that is the targeting system that they should probably have remain offline. So fight ensues between these two scenes. Small details is that we see that Tam can fight. Kaz has more issues, but the big computer thingy goes where it needs to go, but it's not aligned. Kaz tries to align it a little bit. He does what he can. It finally gets pushed in when Yeager bumps his space forklift thing into it, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't bump into it, man. He fucking crashes into it. This thing is like a giant old style fuse, basically.
Right.
And yeah.
It's like it's not aligned and it needs to be pushed in. And full speed goes right into it. Tam does find Synara. A pirate also comes upon them and is starting to say Synara's name, but Synara punches the pirate out cold. Synara's like, why are you here? And Tam's like, well, I'm here to make sure you're okay, because that's what friends do. So then, with the targeting system in, the pirates flee the scene. Turrets start shooting at the pirates. So that is all good. So in kind of the final scene, as we start wrapping up, Yeager is talking to Kaz, and he mentions that he finds the timing of the attack quite convenient. Kaz asks Yeager that, if there's a possibility that there might be another spy on the platform, and Yeager right off the bat is just like, no, you're never the only spy on this platform. Mm-hmm. And then we get one final scene with Doza calling Commander Pyre. Mm-hmm. And Doza is considering Commander Pyre's offer from the previous episodes. And that is when we get the fanfare arrival to close us out.
Yep.
So, yeah, I did it. I think it was about seven minutes or so there.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So, somewhere around there. So, yeah. That's kind of the episode in a nutshell. What would you like to tackle first?
Firstly, I would like to tackle. Have you ever heard of a show called Handy Manny?
No.
This is a kids cartoon with the main character is a Latino fellow named Handy Manny, because he is a handyman named, I guess, Manuel or something, but Handy Manny is what he goes by, and all of his tools are anthropomorphic, so the tools talk, right? Kid show.
Okay. Yeah.
Doza looks like Handy Manny, and I think it's even more interesting that Doza's first name is Emmanuel.
Yeah.
So he is a Star Wars handy manny, and his name is Manny Doza. So you're going to have to look into this. I don't know if any of our listeners are going to know who Handy Manny is, but
there might be other parents in our listenership. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good possibility for other parents. Yeah.
So
is it like a spiritual successor to Bob the Builder? Like, is that?
Yeah, it's kind of the
Bob the Builder I'm aware of.
Yeah.
It's that damn jingle, man. You got to get the right jingle, and that's how you get in my brain.
Yeah, my daughter never watched Bob the Builder, but Handy Manny for sure. Take Bob the Builder and throw in some Dora the Explorer. You got Handy Manny.
Interesting. All right. Yeah.
So my first real question comes from the discussion that Kaz and Tam have with Synara about where all of, I guess, it wasn't Synara, it was our two buddies at the parts counter.
Yes.
Where do they get all their parts? And they say, a lot of it comes from
salvaging, right?
Yep. A lot of it comes from salvaging. So my thought was like, okay, if there is a big enough currency-driven situation for a large number of salvagers to be on the platform, why is there so much wreckage to be salvaged?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, if everybody's a salvager, then what is the economy?
Right, and this is like the first that we've heard about like salvaging having anything to do with the Colossus at all, because up until now it's been presented as like a fuel station.
Yes.
So apparently,
a fuel station that hosts races. Like,
right. And gambling and all that stuff. But apparently, so the Colossus is on Castellon. Castellon is the planet, right? And this is an ocean-wide planet located in the galaxy's outer rim. It's very near wild space, which is like beyond the outer rim, right? That's like the shit that people don't know about on the outskirts.
Right.
The Colossus itself is an aircraft refueling station, but apparently during the Imperial era, the Galactic Empire built this supertanker fuel depot, and after the Empire fell, it became known as the Colossus. So this was in the beginning, an Imperial port, right? I guess so that they had safe haven in like the outer reaches of the galaxy. So I don't know if there was any type of warring that went on in the area, but it seems like for this whole salvage dependency that there would need to be, because
when they're asking Synara for a replacement for the chip thing, they suggest that, you know, if she happens to have like an old Y-wing flying, like lying around or something like that, like they bring up certain ships. And
Tam says,
so like I found that curious.
Maybe you've got an old VF-72 gunner ship or an old Y-wing, and so I tried to look into this VF-72. There's nothing. There's no information that you can find out about it. The only thing that comes up is like gunner ship, like in general, or gunner in general, or whatever like the V-shaped ship is from The Last Jedi. that Holdo smashes into. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that come up when you search VF-72 gunner ship. And that's obviously not correct. But we all know what a Y-Wing is. We've encountered Y-Wings in the Clone Wars in the past, right? So...
Oh, yeah.
There seems to have been some sort of... This is like... This is the Waterworld version of Jakku. Right?
Yeah.
Is kind of what I'm gathering. So, this... I guess it's an interesting tidbit. It was kind of news to me. Not really sure. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was that when Tam gets this chip, the Komar Tri-Tracker chip from Synara, she's like, hey, thanks. Bill us over at the shop, is essentially what she says. So...
Yep.
There was like 1 or 2 episodes dedicated to the fact that Kaz had to like carry physical credits and track
like
down
heavy
parts.
gold coins. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now she's just like, nope, just like bill us over there. We're good. And Synara's like, all right, cool. Taken care of. Like, I'll just hit the data pad and yada, yada, yada. Fucking PayPal, done.
Right. Yeah, I had that thought too, that Synara took that so easily.
Yeah, she took it in stride. Like, this happens all the time. It's like Cash App
especially
just
because
hit.
Yeah, just pay, Apple Pay, whatever, Venmo, whatever you got, it's all good. Whereas it's not even like that episode where like Kaz had a like physical credits. It's just like that whole thing where the two shopkeepers like even stopped putting stuff together for him when they found out he didn't have credits.
They're like, you don't have credits? Fuck off.
Right. Like, we might be able to give you some of this weird third hand-me-downs, like, you know. So, yeah, I agree. It's weird that this is a thing that's pushed aside. Like, I don't know. It's just one of those weird details, especially like when you're a salvager. When you're a salvager, like, I feel like you need that shit immediately. Like,
Republic credits are no good out here. I need something more real.
Right. So I agree. I'm glad you brought that part up. Yeah.
I don't like that detail. The next thing that I had was Doza and Yeager's relationship. I felt was kind of out of place here, where like the high tower, it was an entire episode, right? And the high tower is supposed to be like this elite place where like the commoners and like the underdwellers of Colossus are not allowed to go. Like, you need special clearance and all this shit. But nope, like Yeager's just got a meeting with Doza, and Doza is talking about like his intel, and he's like, yeah, for some reason the pirates are getting smarter, they're getting better, they're getting more coordinated as far as their attacks go, and it's planting a seed of having a spy somewhere on the Colossus, right? But as we find out later, Yeager's like, no, Kaz, like, don't be naive. Like, you're not the only spy here. Like, there are spies upon spies upon spies. And
it's a nest of spies.
Right. So I feel like Doza should understand that, like, there's probably an entire spy network and like a criminal network and all this stuff. I always forget the guy's name, and I'm going to put you on the spot to see if you remember. The big-ass dude from, like, the first episode.
Oh, gosh. Nope. Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
And I don't have that page of notes.
Yeah, I don't either.
On me.
But big-ass dude from the first episode, that was like the enforcer for the little ass dude from the first episode.
Yeah.
Right? He has a black sun tattoo, like on his forearm. So there's shit going on this station, on this refueling station. So Doza shouldn't be surprised that information is leaking out to somewhere. Now, I guess this is supposed to imply that it's happened more recently. So then my question is, like, one, how often do these fucking pirates attack?
Right.
And two, where the fuck are they coming from? Because they seem to be coming from off-world, right? They're not coming from, like, the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
This whole planet seems to be set up as, like, it's a giant ocean world, right? Apparently there was some Imperial battles or something that there is enough wreckage to necessitate multiple scavengers making a living, diving deep, and pulling up wreckage for credits, right? But these pirates are coming from, like, off-world and just picking on, like, this single location on this planet. There's gotta be other things. This is like a micro Camino is what we're dealing with.
Right. And what's interesting is, like, with Triple Dark, they were there to try and steal some of the fuel. That makes sense. But then towards the end of this episode, Yeager, I believe, makes a comment where he's like, yeah, the pirates probably did really well, and goodness knows, like, how much food they made off with.
Yeah, he says...
Like, why food?
So these pirates come in and they attack, and they're basically just there for murder and mayhem, right?
Right.
And they get scared off by the fact that the defensive properties of the platform come back online.
Yeah.
So Kragan is like, hey, let's get the fuck out of here. We'll come back later. And what Yeager says is they probably stole their weight in food and, does he say food and fuel or food and supplies, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Basically, they came in for some mayhem and got some supplies and fucking took off.
And got out of there, yeah. I was confused by that too. Also, how many ace pilots are there, and why all of them
4.
going off-world? Okay. So why not leave at least one behind? Yes, there are the ace pilots, but why aren't there just other pilots that might be able to play defense?
Right. Why not allow other people, like Kaz for sure would be ready to, like, jump in a ship and fucking do his part. There seems to be plenty of people that would be okay with doing their part. So from what I understand, ace pilots, there's the green ace, which is Hype Phazon.
Yep.
He's like the best one. Then there's the blue ace, which is Doza's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
There's the black ace, which is some white dude that flies an old, like, modified TIE fighter. There's the red ace, which we've seen her. I don't remember exactly who she is at the moment. A yellow one. And it's like we kind of have a Power Rangers type situation here where it's like everybody has a different fucking color.
Right.
So there's like 4 or 5. But we saw, I think in this episode, like 4 ships take off.
Mm-hmm.
Max, there's like 6 aces. But...
Yeah, because they're all living in that tower too.
And it doesn't really make sense, like, hey, if you're a really good racer, you get ace status, and now you're a defender of the fucking planet.
Right. That, like, is...
There's a difference
between... Is that,
between...
like, an all-or-nothing deal? Like,
Right. You know, I don't know what you know about, like, NASCAR and or Indy racing or whatever. Indy
Not
racing,
much.
I think a big name is like Mario Andretti, right?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that name at all?
Yes.
Slightly.
Yes, yeah.
So, let's pretend that Mario Andretti wins the fucking Indy 500, and all of a sudden, like, he has to defend the borders of the fucking United States.
Right. Or, like, go on an escort mission.
Right.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Right. Hey, like, we need this fuel.
Right.
A lot of things come down to fuel. I don't really get that. It's a unique, I guess, situation, shall we say.
Right. Yes.
My next thought was, I know that we go back and forth on Neeku. His character is really not used well at all in this episode.
No. They literally tell him to not talk because they understand that he would be the first to explain to everybody that the systems are down. Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they literally tell him not to talk.
And this thing that they're working on, this targeting computer, is like top secret, right? So Yeager is like, nobody say anything, and Kaz says, you know, especially you, Neeku. And so for half of the episode, he has his hand over his mouth, like, still delivering
just
lines,
like
but like muttering through his hand.
Right.
It's a disservice to the development of the character that we've seen in the past couple episodes.
I agree. Yeah, like it's annoying, and as somebody who would like has seen Neeku used well, yeah, I agree that, like, I want Neeku to not be annoying, but they keep finding new, like, this is a new way to make Neeku annoying. Like, and it's not even the character's fault at this point, really.
No, it's not. It's everybody else's. Like, it's...
Yeah, because Yeager and Kaz, like, don't trust him, so then, it's like they still want him involved, but they don't trust him, so then we get, like, all of these weird comic scenes of him not being able to talk, so...
Yeah, and the worst of which is, like, he has his hand over his mouth, and he's like... So Tam finally says, dude, just fucking talk. And he goes, we have a visitor.
And that's when Synara is standing
and
right
that's
there
when
watching
Synara
them.
shows up, and she knows exactly what they're fucking working on.
Right, yeah.
Kaz tries to blow it off as a food steamer machine.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which I thought was kind of comical, that, like, he's so not good at being a spy and or, like, living in the moment of things. He comes up with the lamest ass excuse of food steamer machine thing
for
so
Yeager.
that Yeager can steam food.
Right.
But at this point, again, we get, like, this joke where Kaz is, like, super fucking weak.
Right.
I guess.
So Synara's holding like a little toolbox with other supplies in it.
Yeah,
like a toolbox
she
tray
basically
thing.
like came to them and was like, "Hey, I have some other shit that you could probably use with that chip that I sold you. You know, it's free of charge. Like, here you go. Here's some stuff." And she's just holding it like it's a gallon of milk, and she hands it to Kaz, and it drops to the ground.
It straight to the ground. Yeah.
Like like a ton of bricks. It's so weird. I don't... Like, is he just weak?
I think so, because we later in the episode we see Tam hold her own well. Like, she definitely gets captured at some point, but she definitely, for being a single fighter in a situation with like a horde of pirates,
she kicks some ass. And she
definitely takes a few of them down.
Smaller stature than
right.
Kaz is.
Right. And so I think Kaz really is just that weak.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Like, it's an ongoing running joke, but it's also, if it's an ongoing joke of that nature, yeah, like Kaz is just a weak ass.
It's so weird.
It's weird. I noticed it too, and I was like, oh yeah, Kevin's gonna say something about that surely.
For sure. Like,
yeah. It's and it's just there. It's in the middle of the episode. Because it doesn't. It never comes back. But when Kaz is fighting the pirates, he definitely sucks ass at that. He can't really.
But I mean, he does an okay job fighting this Transhan later, right?
Does he? Like, I feel like he still got his ass beat.
Well, he gets his ass beat, but the guy can't even fucking. The guy can't even pick up a fucking toolbox, right?
Right.
So, based on that fact, I think he does okay.
Okay, yeah, like I will agree. If shifting the goal line there, then yes, he holds his own in the realm of him not even being able to hold a toolbox with parts that he needs to install into the thing.
Yeah, and these are essentially like iPhone chargers is kind of what I got.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to like, exactly what they were.
Basically, Synara was like, "Hey, I have like the connection port things."
Right.
It's like,
right.
So I thought you might need them. They're free of charge. You know.
Free of charge, which I found interesting. Yeah.
So, do you think that Synara was like snooping, or do you think that she was being genuine in her compassion? Yeah.
No, it's 100% snooping. There was no goodness of her heart in that offer.
Okay.
There. Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Is it at this point that we... So this is when the attack happens, right? In the episode?
Sort of, yeah. So this is Tam and Synara go to the market, then the Aces leave, then they get attacked.
That's what it is. Tam and Synara go to the market, and then we get some of Tam's backstory. So we don't necessarily know why she's on the Colossus to begin with, but she basically got in over her head and had no credit, bet her own ship against her race, and fucking lost everything.
Yep.
So this is why she is working in the shop with Yeager and got stuck working with Kaz. So what she says is she's trying to make enough money to buy another racer so that she can race again. So maybe she's not actually trying to get Yeager's ship up and running, right? Like
the fireball?
Yeah, maybe she's not.
She wants the fireball,
but she also tells Synara that she's trying to like buy her own.
Oh yeah.
Racer. So I don't know.
Well, I think she wants the fireball to run races and then build back up to get a nicer racer than the fireball.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I would interpret that. I'm only thinking of that right now. I didn't think about that prior to this. So that's, just based on the information we have. That's kind of how I would look at that.
Cool. I dig it. So from here, like, all the Aces leave, and then Tam's basically like, "Oh fuck! If the racers or if the aces are leaving, that means I got work to do." And then we see Kaz like run around all C-3PO style with his fucking hands waving over his head, like, "Tam, where are you? Where are you? We got work to do." So they both haul ass back to the garage, and Yeager's there again driving his space forklift, and he's like, "Nope, we need to get this shit done like right fucking now." And then we have the coincidence of Kaz going, "Oh, what's the likelihood that pirates are going to attack this second?" And they do. So they get this giant fucking computer fuse fixed, right?
Yeah.
It seems to be fixed. And Tam says, "Okay, it's good to go. Everything's great." And then Kaz says, "Yeah, we can do the rest when we can fix the rest of it when we install it." So, like, come on, writers. Like, is it fixed or is it not fixed? Like, which one is it?
Because it also bothered me that when they do split up and we see the chip thing getting installed into the big port that the forklift is kind of pushing it into, they don't do anything else to it, other than align it and then push it in. So
they just
it is weird that line is in fuse there. Yeah. They just push the whole component in, and then it works. So I agree. It was a weird line to throw in when it never pays off in any other form at all. So
Tam takes off to. There's like an attack on the loading docks, as she calls it, which is weird because all of this is on like the same parallel. As far as, like, if you had to take an elevator up or down, you would get off at the same level, right? This would be loading dock level. But when they were getting parts from Synara, one of either Tam or Kaz comments, like, about the lower level that they're on, but they're totally not. Like, visually, it's the same fucking thing. It's just like further east or something. But Tam decides she needs to go she made friends with Synara, so she needs to go make sure that Synara is being, that she can give her
that she's
help.
Fine.
Yeah.
But I don't understand that motivation. Like, I sort of do, but also Tam knows what they're fixing and why it needs to be fixed. So it's weird to me that she decided to abandon that and run off, and that Kaz almost followed her too. And Yeager was like, "No, Kaz, like, I need your help. Like, Tam can go handle that." But then why does Yeager even care? Yeager doesn't know who the fuck Synara is. Right?
Well, yeah, he does. Because
that's right.
Yeah.
Because he was there during the thing. But then
he may not know.
All the same.
So I correct myself. I might agree with you. He may not know who Tam is going to try to help, but then Kaz is like, "No, she needs to go help her. Like, Synara gave us this shit to fix this thing, so there is the debt of gratitude associated with that."
I guess.
And
like,
Yeager's
Yeager's
like, "Okay, cool, whatever, Tam, do your shit. Kaz, you're coming with me." And then Kaz says, "BB-8, go with Tam. Which, for several episodes, BB-8 has kind of been like an extraneous part of the cast.
Right. Yeah.
The same way I think that Bucket is. Like, they don't need both of these. This show does not need both of these droids. It needs one or the other. And honestly, it needs Bucket. It does not need BB-8. like BB-8 is Poe Dameron's droid and should
Right.
stay with Poe Dameron.
Right. Yeah, the fact that we're 7 episodes in, I was really hoping that Bucket would be the Chopper of this series.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not. He has no personality because he's never around on screen to form a personality.
He's also not even in every episode.
No.
And it's weird because, like, the credits credit Bucket as himself.
Yeah.
It's like a Stan Lee cameo, but it's not.
It's... I don't know. I don't care about Bucket. Like, if Bucket died,
It wouldn't matter.
I'd forget it.
Because you wouldn't know.
I would forget. Yeah, I would forget 2 episodes later, honestly. So, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I forgot BB-8 did anything in this episode as well.
He trips a pirate.
Right. And
And that's about it.
That said, as of this recording, I only saw this episode like a couple hours ago. So it really is not a good sign that I've forgotten that much already about this episode. Anyways.
So there's like a whole bunch of fighting and like pirates, and there's like pretend raiding and stuff like that. And that doesn't really matter. And this is where my thought came. Like, where do these pirates come from? We don't really know that. They seem to be off planet, but maybe it's like the other side of the planet. Who fucking knows?
Right. So are these pirates, based on that one weird cliffhanger thing that we had the other episode, are they in it for themselves here, or are they still like pillaging with the intent of helping the First Order?
I think that maybe they're pillaging by order of the First Order. I don't know. They're getting I think they're getting something from the First Order.
Right.
Where like the First Order's like, hey, we know this weak point, like attack here. We're gonna stay off your back. But the intent is pirates come in and rape and pillage so that the First Order can be asked to be brought in and defend the place. And then they probably send the pirates like to the next defenseless outpost or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're working in tandem. So the pirates are... I think the pirates' end goal, they're getting what they need from the First Order. But they're, bastardly pirates, and they do pirate things. So the First Order's like, hey, you want to be fucking asshole pirates? Like, go here.
Right.
And then,
that makes
when
sense.
we get control of that place, then we'll set you up for the next place to be asshole pirates. So it's almost like a big fucking game for the pirates, which makes sense if you think of it in that aspect, but it doesn't make sense for the pirates themselves because they're not getting anything out of it other than playing pirate.
Yeah. Okay. That all makes sense.
The last 2 things that I had were we have talked about how old Kaz is. Okay. And recently it was revealed when this series takes place. And it is 6 months before The Force Awakens. Which is ABY 34. Is that right?
Force Awakens I've always heard as being in a range that hasn't been fully defined yet. So I'm not sure on that one, honestly. Like, that sounds like the right area, but specifically beyond that, I got nothing for you. But I did hear about this 6 months prior to Force Awakens, and the fact that it could also continue to run concurrently with the events of Force Awakens.
That is
and Last Jedi.
what has been revealed recently is that that's exactly what's going to happen. Is that as the Resistance series progresses, and obviously nobody knows how quickly it progresses time-wise, but it will eventually parallel what's going on in the sequel trilogy, right?
Yeah. Which is fine. I have no strong opinions either way on that, other than just that with Resistance, I just don't know what that can contribute to the stories of the films yet, as of now. So, but anyways, so yeah, what were you getting at with the timeline and the age?
So there is, it's definitive that Kazuda Ziona was born in 14 ABY. So if The Force Awakens is in 34 ABY, he is 20 years old.
20, yeah. Which is just annoying, very annoying.
Yeah, so I had to bring that up to you and break that news to you and let you know that,
because that would make him just a little bit younger than Kanan, right? Kanan's like in his mid to late 20s.
Yeah, Kanan's young.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about how Kanan was recently.
Right. I don't remember off the top of my head, but anyways. Yeah, that's just more annoying to me than anything. But I was already annoyed by that issue, and just having the definitive age on it doesn't help or anything. So
Kanan is more mature. Luke Skywalker at 19 is more mature.
Right. Like still whiny, but more mature at the very least.
Right.
So
FN2187, Finn, and Rey are more mature in their behavior than Kaz is.
Right. Because don't forget, Leia's also 19 then.
Leia's
in
also
New Hope.
19.
And
speaking of Leia and being 19, I recently listened to the audiobook version of From a Certain Point of View. And there are sections of it that address the fact that she is only 19. There's like multiple sections. The way that From a Certain Point of View works is that it's a collections of stories, and they are all from a certain point of view. Hey, clever title, right? So it'll be like a short story from, a specific character.
like a mouse droid.
Yeah, I know. That's that. Yeah. There is a story from the point of view of a mouse droid that is interacting back and forth between TK421 and Grand Moff Tarkin. And essentially, Grand Moff Tarkin kind of stumbles over this mouse droid. This is the same mouse droid that comes down the hall and Chewie yells at, and it scurries away.
Yeah.
So this mouse droid is owned by TK421, and for some reason has like a holo video of TK421 without his helmet on, saying something, and this mouse droid accidentally trips up Grand Moff Tarkin, and he like knocks it over and like fucks up the wheels on it or something, and he's ticked off, but somehow this holo comes out, and Grand Moff Tarkin is like, oh, TK421 is like beautiful. It's weird because they have like this weird behind the scenes like sexual relationship. It's the most bizarre fucking story that I've ever fucking heard. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, hey, same-sex relationship in Star Wars, more power to you. But making it TK421 and Grand Moff Tarkin, and they both die on the Death Star, and it's told through the perspective of a mouse droid, weird. But
Yeah.
there are several stories that talk about how characters were surprised. Either A, Princess Leia was as young as she was, or B, that Princess Leia was as put together from a like, as you know, they're surprised she's as mature as she was, because like she's
Right.
the senator, and there's people that think that she just like got the senatorial position because of her father, and then like when they meet her, they're like, holy shit, like this girl's only 19, but she's like so strong in her position and so professional, and she is absolutely qualified for doing what she's doing. So the fact that Kazuda is older than that and
Right.
is more apt to Scooby-Doo his way through things
Yes.
than be a professional about stuff. Like,
Yeah.
this is... So far, Star Wars Resistance is the Scooby-Doo version of Star Wars, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Hanna-Barbera of animated Star Wars by far goes to Resistance. And I understand that sometimes you have to kind of set a character low so that you have room to grow. But then again, with the fact that we have a character like Leia, that we had a character like even Luke. Luke's growth wasn't building maturity. It was just seeing more of the universe around him, right?
Like,
learning about the Force, taking control of his own destiny, but it wasn't a major maturity level that needed to be upgraded, you know?
Yeah, Luke's immaturity was his naivety as far as, I'm just one little guy and
Right.
I gotta listen to my uncle. Right. So as soon as he was able to step away from the moisture farm, and Ben Kenobi was able to say, everyone is part of something bigger than themselves, and this is what's going on. Like, instantly Luke like shot up and was able to do the shit that needed to be done. That's my thing with the Clone Wars, is like, what character does what needs to be done, right? And Kazuda is fucking Shaggy and Scooby running around with arms flailing above their head, like,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got nothing beyond just circling around the same thing with Kazuda. Yeah, cause just I don't know why anybody puts up with Kaz in the universe, and
Tam's fucking awesome.
Right.
Yeager has been revealed to have a backstory and some depth, right?
Right.
Neeku, you have gone back and forth on. I've liked Neeku up until this episode, and he failed me here for sure. Kazuda, like, I don't fucking know.
Right. I know.
This new recurring character of Synara. This is called Synara's score. What exactly is her score?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
I don't know. It's nothing. Like a fucking toolbox of spare parts. I don't think so. Like, the title implies that that she has some big like horde of awesome spare parts or something. When
I think it's just that she makes the call to Kragan. Like, that might be it. You know.
I guess, like, the score is her calling the pirates in, or something.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like that she gets information out, and it's about a very singular thing, being the turret targeting system, and
like
that's it, I think.
when I read the title, Synara's score, I took it as like she had like a plethora of things. Like that was her score. Like she scored a bunch of stuff. And so then when Kaz and Tam went and talked to her, and there's like this whole like scavenger thing about like pulling wreckage out of the seas. Like I thought I thought maybe there was going to be like a ship or like something substantial, but there's not. There's
yeah. Well, like we're still sidestepping another thing where Synara's not even in this episode that much for her being in the title of the episode.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I got out of this other than like the weird little moment where she's like, "Tam thinks we're friends, and that's adorable." Like, okay, that's what we're going with. Okay, sure, I guess. But otherwise, Synara in this episode barely makes an impact on me. I was hoping that we would get a little bit more just on who she is, but she's still just like generic pirate spy to me.
Yep.
So
like this episode might as well be called Neeku's Silence.
Right. Yeah.
So let's get into let's move on and place our final judgment. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What you got on this?
Thumbs down. Just this wasn't like the worst episode. It wasn't awful. It just didn't do anything for me.
I think I think this was the second worst episode. I give this one a thumbs down as well.
Like, I think if I was a kid, like, it would entertain me enough, and like I would move on with life. But just as an adult trying to watch this and try and find value of why I'm watching this show, like this doesn't do it.
I agree with you. Once you get like one step deeper than, hey, this was 22 minutes of like stuff happening. As soon as you start thinking about like why things are happening, there's too many questions and there's not enough answers, and you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like
at the end of the day too, it's like it's just not even that entertaining. Like 22 minutes went by and I was just like sitting on my couch, just unengaged.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. I think that's a big problem with this show too, is that it's not awfully boring. Like I don't want to just stop watching it per se, but it's like, okay, I'll just let these 22 minutes play through and we're done. Great.
Yep.
It's just there. It's nothing. It doesn't do anything. So, anyways, that's what I got there. Yeah, I think we've kind of covered everything in the last few minutes here regarding my feelings on this episode.
The last note that I had was that Commander Pyre is voiced by Liam McIntyre. And
that's right. Yeah,
so
I did find that out last week. Yes.
I feel like you wanted to talk a little bit more about Liam McIntyre the last time, and so it was like after the episode aired that you had texted me and you were like, "Hey, did we say who voiced Commander Pyre?"
Right.
Because
I think in the last episode, I remember like doing a pause and looking up credits, and for whatever reason, like looking up Pyre from that would probably be the High Tower, right? That's the episode, the High Tower. So I think in that one, I just completely forgot to look up Commander Pyre. So I just want to talk about it because I love Liam McIntyre from Spartacus. If you've ever seen that show, he had the impossible task of taking over the lead role because the previous lead got cancer and died between seasons.
Right.
But Liam, God bless him, like took on the role, and of course he was different, but I mean he he did fine. You know, he took on that role and made it his own, and but he was great on that. He shows up he was a villain on Flash, which I found entertaining as well. So, but I just like him. He's just he seems like a nice dude. So I was excited to see that he showed up as Commander Pyre, and I only found out because I think somebody I follow on Twitter retweeted him. Who's the main guy from the story group right now? What's his
Leland
name?
Cheek?
Pablo. No,
Pablo
not
Hidalgo?
Leland. Hidalgo.
Yeah, he is
retweeted,
number one.
Right. Yeah. So Hidalgo retweeted Liam McIntyre's thing where he's like, "Oh yeah, this is a secret I've been keeping for 2 or 3 years or something like that."
Yeah, it said 2 fucking years. I couldn't fucking talk
Right.
about it.
Yeah. I'm like, holy shit. So
that reminds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that reminds me of when Kelly Marie Tran at Celebration last year was like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm a character in Star Wars," and she said that she had to straight up lie to her parents and said that, like, lie to everybody that she knew. And I think she said that she was in Canada, fucking filming, you know, X-Files reruns or some bullshit.
Right. Yeah.
Because she couldn't fucking say anything, and that was like the day that she was able to announce to the world. Now, I would imagine that her family probably knew a little bit before Star Wars Celebration, but
still, probably not.
You know, the whole movie
before.
was fucking filmed at that point, and she still wasn't able to share that joy. So that's tough, man.
Right. So yeah, that's what got me excited, just seeing Liam McIntyre's enthusiasm come through.
Yeah, for sure.
Was really, really fun. So yeah, that's all I got for this episode.
Cool.
Anything else?
No, that's Liam McIntyre was the last thing that I had on my list, and then I had written up down with no circles one way or the other, but you know, unfortunately, I think both of us are on a 2-week tear of thumbs downs. So
right. Yeah, we'll see about next week.
Yeah, I guess.
What's the episode title for next week? Did you?
Yeah.
That platform classic or?
Yes.
Cool.
Something to that effect.
Sorry, what was the thing you were going to say there?
The last thing that I had to say was that we got some maybe correct information. I don't really know. But it looks like Resistance Season 1 is going to contain 22 episodes. So next week, we think, is going to be the platform classic, and then we'll continue on from there. So we're over a third of the way, not quite half of the way through this first season, so we'll see how things progress. But if you out there, listeners, have any information that we don't have, or you know, disagree wildly about our thumbs down rating of this episode, reach out to us and let us know. And you can do that via email. Not the nerds
podcast at gmail.com.
Yep.
Twitter at Not the Nerds, Facebook at Not the Nerds Podcast. As always, we are available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube. Give us a like, review, subscribe on any of those platforms that you listen to us on. As always, we also like to give a thanks to Lindsay, who put together the jingle at the beginning and end. strangefantasymusic at gmail.com. Also, a shout out to Kevin Warren, who put together our artwork. He is at, they call me K-Dub on Twitter. So
absolutely,
that is
man.
our cover artwork. Yes. So until next week, please have a happy Thanksgiving, by the way, everybody.
Yeah.
This will, yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving for sure.
For our U.S. listeners, yeah, have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy. Please, hopefully, wherever you are, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, that you get some time off to relax, watch some football, shopping if you must. So,
I think that as far as Clone Wars, a couple days from now is going to be The Deserter, is the episode that's coming up there. So, other than that, don't desert us, because I've been Kevin Horde.
Lorenzo Fon over here.
These aren't the nerds you're looking for.
Bye-bye.